Hey guys, welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit.
And I'm Cal.
And we are doing our Stage 4 Week 1 preview. And I can't believe we're at Stage 4. We're coming down to the wire, so we're going to talk a lot of different things. There was some news between Sunday night and today. Shout out to the guys from Push Point, Labasco, and Ramses. We had a blast on the back cap. Very fun. We had a lot of fun talking about 222 and Overwatch League and all that stuff. If you guys didn't see it, check it out. It's on our list. We'll have a link at the end of the video. But let's dive into some news. We had some coaching changes. Kel, you want to handle that one?
Yeah. So we had 3 different coaching changes that happened. Mostly assistant coaches. So not like too big of deals, but the first one was that the Toronto Defiant have brought on OptiDocs from MTL Rebellion, which is a contenders team. They brought him as an assistant coach. Then next we had Guangzhou Charge have picked up Curry Shot from the Mayhem Academy, and then most recently Revival GG, also from contenders. And then to round it all out, Coach 815 from London has left the team.
The Montreal one, for just a quick coverage on that, the Montreal one, I think that makes sense because he was a contenders team and they pretty much brought a bunch of their contender players up. He knows them. He knows, how they work together and all that stuff. That's actually a really smart move, I think. Yeah,
I feel like it's just one of those things of like almost similar to like a guy getting called up from the minor leagues in baseball. Like they basically just brought up a coach from one of their minor league teams. Like grooming a guy through that. That's the way it should be. I like it. It's a good move on their part.
Yeah, Curry Shot. I really wanted the Mayhem to develop him a little bit more and bring him onto the team because I thought he did got a lot of good things with their academy team. He's a really smart dude. I've seen him in a few interviews. I think this is going to help Guangzhou. I think going for a different approach with like restructuring their stuff. They got Bishu in as a leader. I think they would lack that a little bit. It kind of felt that way. You have all this really high talent, but nobody's like leading the ship.
Right.
And you got a really intelligent guy in there helping out the coaching staff. You got Bishu in there, doing what he does. I think that's going to help them out a lot. And
absolutely.
815, he got hired last year after Bishop left and a couple other people. What was that, like end of stage 2?
Yeah, I think it was between stage 2 and 3. Yeah,
and as good as the strategies were last year, he was their main strategist, I guess. Someone's going to have to take a dive at some point sometimes, whether they're a good guy or not. So it just happens in sports.
Right.
Kind of sucks. They just didn't look. They would go into matches with kind of set things, and I don't know if the players were listening to him or not, but
something wasn't working.
Yeah. So it was time to make a change.
Yeah. So I can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
That's really all it is with that stuff. So let's move on to some of the more interesting things that have dropped this week. So the big thing is the League Picks beta, which is going to start with this stage, basically like a pick'em, same type of thing you would see with any kind of like an ESPN fantasy league or anything like that. Where
ESPN has what's it called, the streak?
Yeah, exactly.
Where like they ask you different questions, like, and on ESPN it's a little different. So they're going for the whole day in sports. And you have to keep stringing these things along to get like literally get money. I think, but like they'll ask, in the like if it's like on a Saturday, like in the Masters, is Tiger Woods going to finish ahead of Phil Mickelson and Rory McIlroy? And then it'll say, the Indians are playing the Yankees. How many runs does CC Sabathia give up? Right. Stuff like that, which is awesome. I love that stupid shit. I really wish like there was one thing like a long time ago they used to have at bars. It was called QB1 on Sundays, where it was like this big monstrous keyboard thing, but like you could pick the play before it happened.
Right.
And it was like had leaderboards and all that stuff. I think this is kind of fun, but it's kind of refining stats not stats, but the fantasy aspect.
Yes, it's definitely I feel like it's a precursor to that for sure. The other cool thing you get with this is getting tokens, which is I'm always up for more opportunities to win tokens. I wish they'd have done this in the last stage, so I could have actually had enough to buy the freaking Jonak skin, and I'm still very upset about that. Because I was like 50 away, but I'm like, I just don't feel like dropping the money on it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I was real bummed that I wasn't able to do that.
I stupidly enough got 100 drop on the finals.
Ah, you lucky bastard.
Yeah.
I feel like I've only gotten like one or two 100 ones this season. I only got like 1 or 2 last year too.
I've gotten 6.
I have it on all the freaking time. It doesn't make any sense.
I've gotten 6 this year.
I mean, I've gotten quite a lot because like I got the bonus ones and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I got pretty much all the skins that they've done this year. I bought all of them. Like I bought the Lucio one. I even bought the Lucio. The Mercy one. I bought the Lucio and the Mercy one, and I bought the Lucio the DJ set thing.
Oh, the DJ thing?
Yeah.
I use that for my Lucio ball addiction. I'm sorry. I'm that guy.
I also bought a bunch of skins too, so like I've gotten quite a few.
Yeah.
So like not that bad, but yeah, I'm upset I didn't get the Jonak one because I'm an idiot. But yeah, like I'm all for getting any more opportunities to get more tokens.
Oh yeah.
And this is something we were already doing with High Noon Pick'em.
Right.
So even more stuff, and then I feel like there's going to be even more things, like there's going to be challenges and stuff, so like there's going to be stuff to interact with while the games are going on. So I mean they're just setting us up for
they're actually
betting.
they're actually getting us to interact a little bit more, other than like, because most people, I mean, I kind of watch on ESPN. On the ESPN app, and I put Twitch on in the background so I can get my tokens.
Right.
I mean, there are times when I'm watching on Twitch, whether I'm on my phone and I'm somewhere where I don't want to be, and it's it happens to be a game night. I just pretend like I'm texting someone, and I'm just watching the match. What are you doing? Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
You wouldn't understand.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is cool. I'm excited for it. It'll be interesting to see how it develops. But the other thing that they released is some stat things that came out today called player impact rating. So if you look at the page that they released with that, there's some pretty interesting things going on with that. And it showed the ones from last year, for instance, and you kind of see what stats they were looking at to really solidify why Jonak was the MVP. His player impact rating was 127.79. The next closest was Gesture at 122.81. Like 5 more points, and like everybody else is separated by like 2 or 3 points at the most.
Yeah,
after that.
All of you guys that picked against London in the finals, feels bad, man. Because if you look at this chart, it's Jonak, then it's Gesture and Prophet, then Fissure, of course, then Space, then Fate, Muma, who was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? He was the most consistent player on their team, so I really can't say that. But Dosen and Fury, like I think it's like about the top 12. So basically, their whole starting lineup is in the top 12 of player impact. Yet, everyone thought. And the only person from Philly on there is EQO and Carpe, which makes sense.
Right, and just shows how freaking good, how much that DPS duo carried them.
Yeah, and like for the Valiant, how much Space and Fate, did for them. And
absolutely.
And Fissure, why were the Gladiators there? Fissure.
Exactly.
But this is also another thing that, like, we were talking about player impact, and we were talking about fantasy. Like, I think we're moving further towards, because every league that everyone wants to play fantasy. There's fantasy NASCAR.
Right.
And I'm a degenerate, and I have been in fantasy NASCAR leagues. So.
Right. I mean, and this league like is such a natural fit for it that it honestly made me question like if this is something that they've been working on of what they wanted to have for themselves, like of them doing their own fantasy platform, I can understand why they were hesitant to release the stats as fully as everyone wanted them to, so other people would make it, because they wanted to be able to cash in on it themselves. And if we get that from them, then I'm not mad.
No, I'm not mad either.
It's going to be really nice, and I really feel like this is a precursor to that, and that's something we're going to get to start next season. Yeah,
because to be brutally honest, the way the structure is next season, we're going to need some things to fill the gaps.
Yes.
And those weeks when, the big teams aren't playing, because there are going to be swings when, like, both LA teams, San Francisco and Vancouver, go on the Far East swing, and they come back and they're off.
Right. Well, I mean, there's going to be that, and then I think it'll give them more things to talk about during the week. I would be shocked if they do that. I'll be really shocked if they don't do some kind of like watch point that's all about fantasy league, all of that, and like it's just that much more that they can bring people in for, and it makes too much sense for them to not do it.
Yeah, because the high noon's great.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely! Those guys have done a phenomenal job with the limited options that they've been given.
That's the thing; they haven't been given anything, and then stats update late. I'm terrible. I didn't. There was a point where like I want to switch things up, but I don't know where these guys are at stat wise right now. I mean, it kind of seemed like they had a good game. You know what I mean? And speaking of this player impact thing, we were looking at the this year's. So it's basically Vancouver.
The top 3 players are all Vancouver players right now. Yeah, Haxel, Seominsu, and Twilight. Haxel's got a 123, Seominsu is a 120, and Twilight's a 118.
You got to read the article on OverwatchLeague.com. They go over like all the ins and
like
outs.
Like what these numbers mean. Yeah. But it's really, really interesting, and 100% like this is just a precursor to how these things are going to impact the game, and it's just like it reminds me of like WAR in baseball, wins above replacement, or like QBR. A player rating in the NBA, like a true shooting percentage, or like a defensive rating, something like that in NBA.
It's kind of like a QBR, because there's a lot of things going into it that you might not understand all the math, but the numbers in front of you can kind of see what it is. Right,
you can see here's basically a number that quantifies what you're seeing on the field as to why this person is so great.
Yeah.
And you look at a guy like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, and it's just like you look at the numbers and you look at these things and you're just like, oh, okay. That's why that guy's that good. Like, I could see it just watching him, but this is just further proof. In numbers of how much that guy's going to impact. Or actually, it reminds me. It's a little more foolproof just because there's so much more digital. It reminds me of the Pro Football Focus ratings that they have in football per player and all that. That's definitely what this reminds me of, and the analytical stuff. So I'm super excited about all of this, and I'm just foaming at the mouth to get more of this stuff. Because it's been something that we feel has just been so lacking in the game, for a game that is literally based on freaking code. Why is this taking so long to get to us? But whatever, it's here now, and it's getting further developed. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, so am I, and it's going to be fantastic. And the more time that these guys have to do stuff over the next, after the season ends, for the 6 months in between, it's going to be fantastic. They'll come up with some more stuff, and I can't wait.
Absolutely. All right. So one last little bit of news that literally just dropped as we're recording this, and that is Soul Dynasty and Munchkin have mutually decided to part ways.
So does that officially mean Bunchkin is dead?
I think so.
That's terrible.
It is.
That was a storyline for us last year. The right? Bunchkin.
I mean, what happened to Bunny? He's got to be in like.
I mean, he went to
Contenders or something now.
Yeah, I think he's on Shanghai Contenders.
Okay.
Whatever their Contenders team, I think he moved over there. But Munchkin was like their Bunny and Munchkin did the Tracer business, and Fleta did the rest of it.
Right.
Pretty much, and I think with Fitz and Fleta, I think they're pretty well set. I just don't think he fit in.
Yeah, he didn't really have a spot because, I mean, he was mostly a Tracer specialist, and Tracer's been out of the league basically since stage 3 of last year.
Yeah.
Was like the last point that like Tracer could really have a big impact. Minus like a few maps here and there in the playoffs, but I mean, it was double sniper last year, so it really didn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And he just had no, they didn't have any need for him in the first 3. And, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of these guys that were like that. Mm-hmm. Like in his position where, they just became irrelevant.
Right.
And, he's looking for another team, and depending on what we get meta-wise, next year, who knows? Because we'll have 2, because we got 1 hero this week. Potentially by the time the season starts, we'll have another one.
Yeah. I mean,
BlizzCon,
if BlizzCon, if all the rumors end up being true, we might be looking at
multiple
4 or 5 new heroes around the time that the league would start.
By February?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Potentially. Depending on how it all plays out and what the release window is for the new game and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more speculation for later. So let's dive into the...
All right, before we dive into the schedule, we're going to dive into the maps just so you guys can get like kind of a... Because they're going to matter because comps are going to be different. We're not going to have goats or somber goats or yay, we're on control, let's run 4 DPS.
Right.
All right, so the map pool for stage 4. Control is going to be Ilios, Busan, and Lijiang Tower. Assault, we have Hanamura, Volskaya, and Temple of Anubis.
Then with Hybrid, we've got Hollywood, Blizzard World, Kings Row. Escort, we've got Havana, Junkertown, and 66. So...
You better honestly, have a good Widowmaker for these.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've determined with all of these, is that as much as they probably may not have wanted it, I feel like double sniper or some kind of and Widowmaker bunker. Or like Widow is going to be a factor. Widow Hanzo.
And
but honestly, I've also heard a lot of talk of a bunker with Mei.
Yeah, the Clockwork Vendetta.
Yeah, running that Clockwork Vendetta comp.
Ish. Yeah, I think that's kind of viable. And then you have
especially on a map like Junkertown.
Yeah,
absolutely. Havana, like most of the escort maps, I feel like they could totally pull that off.
Because you can't do the thing last year, like when you ran, like when they would run Jonak on Bastion on the pirate ship, or on the flex supported play Roadhog. Your flex tank's got to play Roadhog now.
Right.
So there's none of that weirdness. But like King's Row, I think we're going to get the Grav Dragon King's Row back.
Yes.
Without a doubt. And if there aren't any bunkers going on in Temple of Anubis, then they've totally changed the game, and I'm in some other dimension.
Right.
I mean,
and then we might see the return of Soldier with Hanamura.
Yeah, exactly. The only outlier is Busan.
Yeah. Busan's weird, but I think
the temple was kind of a weird one.
Yeah, the Temple one's weird. I also think Li Jiang is is going to be a little wonky too.
Yeah.
I feel like Li Jiang is going to be similar to the way it was last year, where each distinct map kind of has its own meta. Yeah. Where like Control Center is always going to be Rhine Zarya dominant. Then the
Pharah.
Night Market is going to be like a Pharah, or Gardens is going to be Pharah, and then Night Market is going to be kind of a weird like
free for all ish.
Like
that was always
they might run
dive-ish.
like Diva, kind of divey, like but if it might be like a twist on dive with like a Winston Ball or maybe a Ball Diva, something like that.
Yeah, and if you're a team like San Francisco, what do you run on a map like that, or
right?
Your best Zarya player is going to
be playing DPS.
He's Sinatra. He can't switch between points. So if you want to have Sinatra playing Zarya, he's going to have to play off tank for the rest of the match.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting.
And you guys said there was no strategy with fucking 2-2-2.
Right. Honestly, I feel like it brings in so many more things that you have to do in order to counter, and so many more strategic decisions you have to make before you even start a game.
And 66 is always weird too.
Yeah.
Well, not weird. It's like you could go bunker, you could go dive, you could go Clockwork Vendetta, you could come up with something totally whack ass. Because that's one of my favorite escort maps to play. Yeah,
same.
Just because you have it's one of those, there's so many different points you can like switch comps constantly. But the map pool is going to definitely,
it's going to really shape up for a weird mix of things to go along with the 2-2-2 lock. All right, let's dive into
the schedule.
This schedule, yes.
For this week. Which is
we got Houston, Paris to start out. And this is going to be a big question mark on where both of these teams are. Paris, I think the big question are Soon, and is this finally going to be the emergence of Soon and Shadowburn, or are they going to go back to? Are we going to see more Nico? Are we going to see like who are the DPS that are going to emerge for this team?
Right, and it's one of those things like we're going back to like pre-start of stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like I forgot Soon and Shadowburn are on this team because they were so bad on Zarya that they fucking sat on the bench.
They were so bad at Zarya and Brigitte.
But
that they had to run Nico and Danye.
Yeah.
Like,
who weren't great, but they weren't terrible. But that's gone now.
Right. And then they've got a solid tank line between the three of Ben Best, Finzi, and LH Cloudy that I think they'll be okay with there. And then same with their supports. I think Cruz and Gray are pretty underrated. So I think with those they'll be fine. It's really their DPS are the question mark, and are they going to be able to really maximize the talent that they have on that side?
Yeah. The one thing that they did not take into consideration when they had these two guys, too, is, if you guys remember from last year, Soon and Shadowburn were two of the most streaky DPS players in the league. One week they would be meh, and the next week they'd be like, holy shit, did you see what they did?
Like, look at these guys. They're just gods.
And this is... we're going to go back to stage 4 last year. This is our meta. Same team, Houston.
Yeah, right. They've got, at this point, they have zero excuses. The biggest question mark, obviously, Linkser this is his best opportunity to really go off. But then the other question is, which do you play, Dante or Jake? Which one is going to put you in the best situation at that point?
Yeah.
And that's really a big question for this team. Because, basically you have 2 spots, or probably 3 spots that are completely set. You have Muma, you have Linkser, and you have, I guess Marcus. You can kind of toss up Raucus and Bonnie and Boink. Like, any one of those 3 is fine.
Well, but anyway, we'll keep moving before I continue.
Yeah, but the biggest question mark for them is going to be their off-tank and their DPS, other than Linkser. which one's going to step up, and is it going to be enough?
Yeah, exactly. And, are they going to run Cool Mat? Are they going to run Spree? Or what are they going to do?
Right.
I'm assuming...
Or are they going to try and put Jake or Arhan on off-tank just to run Roadhog and run Muma on and just solidify as bunker.
Yeah. Well, because Muma's one of the most versatile tank players in the league. Mm-hmm. A lot of people could say what they want about Houston. He's kind of their carry. And, his Orisa's really good and his ball's really good. And his Winston and his Reinhardt are really good, too. So,
yeah.
I mean, what do you do for your off tank?
That really is the big question for this team. It'll be interesting to see.
Maybe throw Jake in on most of those maps. I mean, I don't know who's got the best Roadhog on that team.
Yeah, that's the other question. And whatever they do, is it going to be enough?
Because everybody was running damn flex supports on Roadhog.
Right. All right, so let's move on to the second game of the day. We got the Gladiators versus New York. Obviously, this could be the big return of all the New York DPS players. We'll probably see some more Sabiobi, more Libero. Are we going to see any Pine or Flower? Where does Nene fit into this as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me. I'm like, is Nene going to play more than even Sabiobi? Because
honestly, I think between Nene and Libero, they really have they cover just about everything.
Maybe and Flower and Pine at this point are kind of expendable.
Yeah,
and you can play Sabiobi on maps where you're Tracer dependent, or
Tracer or Sombra.
Yeah,
depending if Sombra is going to be a factor, and I do think Sombra is going to have her place in the league still. I don't think she's going away
because she can screw up bunker too.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see that. And I think that kind of answers a little bit of the question for Houston is anytime Sombra is going to be played, it's going to be Dante. And then there's other questions as far as the Gladiators, where does it fit in for them? And are they going to be able to finally step up and freaking win some games that matter? And is this finally going to be it? Or are they just going to keep crumbling when any kind of pressure is put on them?
Yeah, and they can't go wacky anymore.
No, they can't.
Well, they can't go overloaded on one, support or DPS or tank or anything like that. Where they used to throw in Shaz would play Tracer or he'd play May or something like that, and they'd run a single support. So they'll come up with some things. I think they'll be okay. This game's gonna be interesting though. Absolutely. And by the way, Thursday, guys, it's got a ton of fucking meaningful games.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Well, that's another question with them is they're going to have you look at the PRI that we were talking about, or PIR, their top player is Void. I don't think anybody would have expected that.
No. And
you would have figured it would be why am I blanking on their main tank right now?
Roar.
It would be Roar, or it would be their DPS guy. Why am I blanking on him now too? Jesus Christ.
Surefoot?
Sure. No, the other guy who was playing the guy who was playing Zarya.
Who was playing Zarya for them? I almost forgot. Oh, Decay.
Decay. You would think Decay would be on there, but Void is right up there. So it's like, okay, you got your main tank and your off tanks, and then now where are you going to go with your DPS on there? So there's a lot of questions that they got to answer. And then the next game, we have Guangzhou and Philly, which is going to be an interesting game. Both of these teams got to win, but this is really... Is this going to be Philly's coming out party? Yeah. Is the real question.
Kind of like, yay, we can play what we played last year.
Yes.
And then...
We can bring back the ultimate DPS duo.
Yeah, exactly. That's
which was proven by the stats. Oh, yeah, everyone should be terrified.
Yeah. And is Fraggy going to play against them? Please tell me yes.
Oh my God, please.
And let him Reinhardt hammer Sato into the ground.
Oh, yes. Can we please have that happen?
Oh man, God. That would be hilarious please God, tell me they have Kintaro.
If Fraggy just craps all over this team, I'm going to laugh so hard.
That would be fucking unbelievable.
Yes, they do play Kings Row. Yes.
Well, we got at least one Reinhardt map where he can go Fraggy. They better fucking play. But yeah, you can go bunker in that too.
Yeah.
I think he might have a decent enough Orisa.
I still think that is, even with bunker, I still think that map is tailor-made for Reinhardt's kit.
Yeah, it's Reinhardt, Zarya, Grav Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so then the last match of the day is going to be a good one. We got Shanghai and Vancouver.
The last these two teams played was kind of one-sided, actually.
Yeah, it really was. And this will be the question: is like, how is Vancouver going to adjust to having not playing goats, because they've been playing goats for a year and a half at this point?
Yeah. And one of the things, that's going to be a big factor in this, do they have a good Widowmaker?
Yeah.
Do they have no one's going to go toe to toe with DM right now. I mean, well, you could.
Right. And on the other side, is Shanghai going to be able to keep up the pace that they've been on and the just torrid streak? Are they going to slow down at all?
Exactly.
Honestly, I don't know, because now you've fully unleashed Ding and DM.
Yeah.
Everybody should watch out.
Oh,
that could be. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we end up getting a Philly Shanghai matchup somewhere in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Carpe versus DM.
Well, currently it's DM Carpe.
Yeah.
And per Monte Cristo, it's okay in Latin because you can reverse words.
Exactly.
I'm not that smart with language, so. Okay. All
right.
I will take Monte Cristo's.
Yeah, we'll just take his word for it. Yeah. Let's move on to Friday. It's going to start off with a game that really only means something for Toronto. But it's kind of a trap game because Washington's going to be a hell of a lot better, because now Corey can play the heroes that he's good at, and he can carry.
2-2-2 lock. You have Corey and Addo, I'm assuming you're going to run?
I would think so.
You have the new tank duo, and then you have Ark and Sleepy. That's not terrible. Really,
no, it's really not.
It's not terrible. And Toronto, I don't know how they work outside of goats.
Yeah.
They're one of those
even
teams
with
that
the Western direction that they've gone, like, does it work for this meta? Like, I don't know.
But they did run. Who were they playing? They were playing somebody at the Atlanta homestand. It might have been Atlanta. They were running the Clockwork Vendetta kind of comp.
They were, yeah,
on Volskaya. In fact,
it worked pretty well.
Yeah, and it was just they were so good with the when Orisa Shield started to go down, Maywall up. They had that whole synergy going with that. They worked on that.
Yeah, for sure. So we could definitely see them bust that out. But this is a big game for Toronto.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington is basically just here to play spoiler right now.
And I think this is a good lineup, a good start for them to get back in, because they actually have 5 homestands next year. They're one of the teams with 5.
They do, yeah. That's going to be big for them. All right, so let's move on to Dallas versus London. Again, a lot of questions with Dallas. Is this going to be the switch that they needed to really come into their own, or are they just going to keep having really good games at times and then falling flat the next game?
And is Zachary going to come out? Do we see Taimu or do we see AKM, or are we doing map dependent? Which I would assume. I would assume
it's going to be map dependent.
Even if you guys go back to last year, I know it was a long time ago, and we haven't seen anyone play DPS. Most teams, the good teams that were in the playoffs, had kind of a 3-man DPS rotation.
Right.
Where, you had those guys that were guys that were permanently in.
You always had at least one guy that was like a god that could switch to any, either
a libero kind of guy,
like a libero that can do all the projectiles, or on the flip side, a Carpe who can do any hit scan. Yeah. And played at a crazy high level. And then you usually have some other guys that kind of
who's usually like a Widow God or something. Like a Widow God, or someone that does weird, like a Doomfist, or they have something that they could pull out for different maps.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see who does that for Dallas. Yeah. And then also the other question is, are we going to see the return of Oj?
Yeah, I hope so.
And like, what's going on with that whole situation? There's a lot of questions for Dallas right now.
Yeah.
And are they going to be able to pull their heads out of their asses and get it all together? Because that's really they need to get it together and stay in this playoff hunt, because they are very much in danger of falling out, because any losses have a huge impact on them, because their map differential
is horrific.
Trash.
But then on the flip side, we got London, who 2-2-2 is their thing.
Yes.
And like I said, we looked at the player impact last year, that they had pretty much everybody on their normal starting lineup was in the top 15, top 12.
Yeah.
And that's a big fucking deal. And
getting Profit to play any DPS is just always going to be nightmare fuel to any other team.
Yeah, lest we forget the scariness of him on Hanzo and Birdring on fucking Widowmaker. And then Jester's got a really good Orisa as well. Mm-hmm.
Jester's got a good Orisa.
Fury can play anything.
Probably some more. Yeah, Fury can, like, this team
off tank wise
is tailor made for 2-2-2. Yeah. So they are really on the cusp of emerging.
That's if they feel like playing.
Yes, but that's always the question: is are they gonna hunker down and really show up? Yeah, that's really the question.
Because they have those games, they'll lose one or two in the middle of the stage, and you're like, "What the fuck are they doing?"
You're just gonna like scratch your head, like, "What just happened? Like, why did you guys let that happen?"
Like, there were games last year, like I remember, like, so I was like, "Is there something wrong with Prophet?" He was like missing pulse bombs, Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just take a nap every so often.
They really do. All right, let's move on to Seoul versus San Francisco. I mean, again, more questions for both of these teams. I feel like there's less questions for Seoul, because you pretty much know who their DPS are going to be. It's going to be Fleta, and it's going to be Fitz.
Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much know Seoul's lineup, and I think they'll be pretty solid. There's a few more questions when it comes to San Francisco, because then you actually have a lot more questions with San Francisco. Which are you? Obviously, you're going to run Super Choi Hyobin as your tanks, but is Choi Hyobin going to be good enough on other characters besides Diva?
I mean, his Roadhog is filthy.
His Roadhog is gross.
But is super good enough to run Orisa, which I don't think. I think that's why they kept running. They ran Smurf in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's a question.
It is. And then on top of that, which DPS do you roll with when they have an embarrassment of riches on DPS, and which ones are going to play? Like, are we going to finally see some Striker? Do you put Rascal back to DPS?
Do you put Architect in?
Yeah.
I mean, Architect, Farah Genji, yeah. His Widowmaker's okay. I mean, I'm sorry, San Francisco fans, you're lacking a knockout Widow.
That's really the biggest.
That's about it.
Knock on this team. They really don't have a god on Widow. Yeah,
you have to have the shutdown Widow more often than not to shut down the other one.
Yeah, exactly. And then what do you do with the Rascal? Like, do you keep him on support and just basically make him your Baptiste? That's always just going to be in there? Because
there's some maps where you're going to run Baptiste through the whole thing.
For sure. But do you want to run that risk of him not being able to switch properly and all of that?
He could probably handle Anna or maybe Zen.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are usually...
do you want to take Violet off of there? Or
that's the thing.
Out? Like, that's really the question. Like, what do you do in that situation? Who's the odd man out with that? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with San Francisco.
Yeah, because, I mean, Rascal's hero pool and Architects are pretty similar. They're pretty much the projectile.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and it's a shame because he was doing so much work, and he, like, fucking carried them in some games, too. It was fantastic.
Right.
But, the one thing I will say about San Francisco is these guys are all kind of team players.
Right. So I think
for now.
I'm with you. I do think that they'll, like, some guys will be willing to sacrifice for the team or whatever. Yeah. So,
but at what point are you going to go? Yeah, but I carried us here like three. I'm not saying Rascal, but like one is like the reason why we're here is because the way I played, on Zarya, and you can put Striker in.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, back of your mind, that's those guys. There's going to be a tilt situation, and I get it. I mean, I would kind of be that way too.
Yeah,
this
for sure.
Going to be weirdly interesting.
It could. All right, and then last game of Friday night, we got Philly and Chengdu. This is a big game for Philly, big game for Chengdu.
I think this is teams moving in different directions.
Yes, I do think that even in the last stage, teams have finally started to catch on to Chengdu and how to take advantage of them. And then it'll be an interesting adjustment for them because, okay, now everybody else is playing DPS. Are your DPS going to be good enough to keep it up? And what are you going to do? Is Amen going to be flexible enough on other tanks to be effective? And there's a lot of question marks.
I said it last time or last stage with them, and it's not a knock on them necessarily. Take it as you will, but they were doing things against teams that weren't ready for it, and they had to kind of switch on the fly, and they hadn't practiced on heroes. These guys are all practicing DPS heroes now,
right?
And I'm not saying Chengdu's bad. I think the guys on their team are good, but
but are they good enough to overcome the talent that is on other teams?
Yeah,
that's really
And is the you have Aming? Does he have an Arista, or is it Jakirin?
Is he just ball only?
Yeah, or is it Jakirin, who was supposed to be with the team from the start, but he had all the visa issues and all that? Is he going to come in and play the other tanks? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
There's a lot of questions.
Let's move on to Saturday. Let's just jumping into Saturday. We've got Paris and the Valiant. So we haven't really talked too much about the Valiant yet, but they have probably the biggest question marks when it comes to DPS, and it's
because they're pretty solid across the board everywhere else,
right? But when you look at their DPS, it's like
I don't know. And I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't know what KSF can do.
Really, the only known commodity that they have is agilities.
Yeah, and he's your projectile.
We know that agilities is your projectile, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's got a good Genji.
Yeah, he's got a good Pharah. He's not an EQO, but he's very much a capable player.
And he steps it up sometimes, and
he does.
He clutched a couple of games for them too.
He did.
Lest we forget last year.
Yeah, so it's gonna be, but it'll be interesting to see which one of Shaxx or KSF steps up, and who's got what it takes for them to really make it work. And then also you have to look at your off tanks is Space and McGravy, which one is gonna have the more flexible pool? Because you're not gonna be playing very much D.Va.
Yeah, Space. I think Space is pretty flexible. Yeah. I remember last year he played Zarya fairly well. I think his Roadhog isn't terrible either, from what I remember. I think Kareev was playing a lot of Roadhog. Mm-hmm. Flex support. But I think, and maybe McGravy's your Roadhog specialist. I don't know. It's going to be... Yeah. It's going to take a little bit, guys.
Yeah, for sure. This team, it is imperative that they get some wins.
Yeah. And they have to
they have a good map differential, but that first stage really hurt them a lot, and most of the second stage as well. So they've got a lot of ground to make up. I think they can, but they got to come out and prove it, and this is the perfect game for them to do that.
Yes, it is. But the one thing I worry about, what's their double, because I keep harping on the snipers, but there's going to be a lot of double sniper guys.
Yeah,
there just is. What's their double sniper situation?
Yeah,
who's I think agilities.
I would imagine agilities would be your Hanzo, but which one of Shaxx or KSF is going to be your Widow?
Yeah, because last year they had Soon.
Right.
So that's going to be that's going to be interesting.
So let's jump into Saturday, or the second game on Saturday. We've got Boston Guangzhou. So Boston's another team that honestly, with these changes, I
don't know.
I really don't.
I don't. They're one of those teams that could totally shit the bed or surprise the hell out of you.
Right, and that's been the story of this team all season. And like the first couple of stages, they were like, "Whoa, this team is a lot better than we thought." And then in stage 3, like they completely fell apart. Actually, towards the end of stage 2, they started to fall apart, and they just really haven't been able to recover. They started to look a little better at the start of stage 3, but they just by the end it was just a mess.
Yeah, because we were all saying, well, that the KSF or the KSF, right?
No, it's RCK and Note.
Yeah, RCK Note trade. We're like, okay, it was mutual for everybody. And now that's the whole thing's even kind of up in the air.
Right, for both teams. And that's something we didn't even really talk about with Dallas. But
yeah,
like, where is RCK gonna fit into what they're gonna try to do with their off tanks?
Yeah, and their DPS. You have Blase, you have Color Hex, and now you have Stellar in there, which on paper looks pretty good, but I'm going to keep going back to it. Who's your sniper?
I'm guessing Color Hex.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not bad.
Right,
but you got to go up against some of these guys, and they keep getting better.
Right.
You might say what you want if you have to play a team like Florida, but Side Player has the potential to wreck you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Or you can say, like, we can say what we want about Houston. There are games where Lynx just absolutely goes fucking ham.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move on to. We got the Gladiators in Houston. We've talked about both of those teams. It's really no way to tell how this game is going to play out until we see everybody or the other 2 games that they'll play earlier in the week. But let's move on to Atlanta and Hangzhou.
Another interesting scenario going on here.
Another thing, Hangzhou is just on a roll right now, but Atlanta's starting to pick it back up. And
this might be something Atlanta's good at that people don't realize.
Exactly.
Because you have Erster, you have Baby Bay playing heroes that they're good at.
And then you can't forget Enler, he's a very good hit scan player.
And then you got your tank line is solid.
Yeah.
And then your supports are good. And Baby Bay is better than I think people remember him being on.
Absolutely.
Widow and the snipers and doing that kind of thing. And he's one of those guys that when you need it, Hanamura's there. He's your soldier. He's one of those ridiculous soldier players.
He's an insane soldier player, but he's got a very good Widow as well.
Yeah. So, and then Hangzhou, if you get any kind of dive, you have Gushui. I get a little weird with Rhea, and their DPS are fine. To me, they got a decent enough rotation of guys.
Yeah, between Crystal, Godsby, Adora, they'll be just fine.
Yeah, they have enough guys that are going to do what they need to get done.
Yeah.
Their supports are good. It's just for some reason the off tank is a question. It seems to for the way we're interpreting these things, it either comes down to the big question is the off tank. What can they do, or do you have a Widowmaker?
Yeah.
Guys, you see the
the trend that we have going here. And honestly, I feel like of most of the teams, I think Hangzhou is going to be they're very much set up for success in this meta.
I think they're set up for success. They're set up in that they're not going to wow you. Mm-hmm. They're just going to be one of those consistent. They win games. There's not going to be like big flashy highlight reel things. But you're going to look at the standings and they're going to have wins.
Exactly.
I think this is going to be a good turnaround for Atlanta as well.
Yeah. Even though they probably won't win this game, I do think that this is a good situation for Atlanta. Yeah. And I feel like they can really have a good run and kind of regroup after a horrible stage 3.
Yeah, I wonder if Dufresne's like, oh, damn it, I could have played fucking Torb in the league now, man.
Right.
Anyway.
For real. All right, so let's move on to Sunday.
The big game kicks it off.
Yeah, the big game, Shanghai Seoul. I mean, there's not too much we can really say about it, but it's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah. Plus, these are the things that we haven't said in a while. You have Fleta and Diem going up against each other, or Fleta and Ding, because Fleta's one of those weird guys that can play Widowmaker or Pharah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Fleta versus the world.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
I'm so excited.
It's just, it makes me excited. I just want to, like, on Friday, all I'm going to be doing is watching Prophet. He's going to be on my...
Absolutely.
Just as soon as I put that game on, on the All Access, we're just watching Prophet all night. Go the fuck off. But this is one of those ones, I would be hard-pressed to pick somebody actually to watch.
Right.
As far as, like, DPS players. This is going to be... It's going to be great, guys.
Insane.
The 2v2 is going to be awesome. I'm so super excited. I was a little not excited about the timing of it, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's just roll.
Right. It's here. We've got it.
It's going to screw some teams up, but I don't think it's going to screw some teams up as bad as we think.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to boost some teams as good as we think either.
Yeah, for sure.
But the next game, Sunday is kind of trashy. The only other big game is really Boston and Chengdu, which is a tale of the weird teams that are like on that between 8 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're all going to be just interchanging. My team has Vancouver.
Hey,
there's a chance. We have Saya playing Widowmaker. So.
I mean, that will be interesting to see if their DPS can carry them to some wins.
Yeah, I just want to see what they can do. Same
Absolutely.
thing with Toronto against London. That's going to be a meh game. I want to see what... Like, we were talking about teams that kind of... We were looking to see... Before we went on air, the Valiant was one of them for me because I want to see what's going on. The Valiant, Atlanta, Toronto, even because Toronto guys is still in it.
Yeah,
everyone has written them off, including some of our viewers that wrote them off in stage 1. But all they got to do is win 2 games, and someone's got to lose 2, and they're in the play-in.
The biggest thing is they have a brutal schedule.
Yeah, I know.
In this stage. Again. Like, they do play Florida twice, so that's something that could help them. But depending on how Florida... Yeah, right, exactly. Like, are they going to be able to handle the DPS of Florida?
And the fact that... Remember, they got Fate, too. And I don't know how Gargoyle is. I mean, they kind of built a GOATS team.
Right.
God, we're the fucking Jets. We built a GOATS team like 2 months after the fact.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know what? These guys they've been playing for a long time. They should be all right. Maybe, Gargoyle's got a really good fucking Roadhog. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or, weirdly enough, Zephyr can flex on the fucked up shit.
Yeah.
He can't play the role that he was supposed to be good at, but, Diva.
Right. Of course.
But he can play Bastion and Roadhog. Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right.
My God, we spent way too much time on the Mayhem. I apologize.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. So that's going to wrap it up for this week, guys. Keep an eye out for this week. Probably no Sunday night back cap. We'll probably try to do something on Monday because we both have...
You do. I don't.
Work things, or I have work things on Sunday night. So we'll probably do something either Monday morning or we'll do a live show sometime Sunday night. So just keep an eye out on our Twitter for that.
Or don't forget to. But we'll get some kind of content out for you. Maybe you can watch me do the rest of my placements on Sunday night because the bulldozer's not here and the roofers. So.
There you go.
If you guys have been watching my Twitter, I've been having a war on either side of my house with construction.
So keep an eye out on Twitter for all that.
Yeah.
Don't forget to give us a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Rate us and review us on any whatever your podcatcher of choice is. And we appreciate all the support from everybody that has been following us and giving us feedback and everything. So thank you guys so much, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
But one last thing, shout out to she used to always comment on the on our YouTube videos. She commented on our iTunes. Anastasia, thanks a lot, because I knew it was her because she was bullshitting about Soul. So thanks a lot for the review on iTunes.
All right.
But yeah, I'm not a Soul fan still. Just keep remembering that. All right, guys. You guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the matches and enjoy watching DPS players play DPS.
Yes.
Bye,
all right, guys.
Good night.
We'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.